going on? This is your boy Alfie D, Streetz Talk Podcast Network. Today we got a few special guests join us today. We have, matter of fact, instead of me go ahead and introduce everyone, it's a lot easier and let everyone tell you about themselves. So it is Sunday. Miss Stacy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, and it's going to be ladies first. How you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing today? I am Stacy, CEO, founder of Vision Solution LLC, also a business coach. So that's a little bit about me.
All right. Next up is my man Anthony.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Anthony from the About That Wallet podcast. I'm actually call myself as a podcast host where we help people and actually really help you build strong financial behaviors.
So so we can start off with you, sir, today. Would just tell everybody about a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background, and what brings us here today. And basically, the conversation today is going to be basically about finance, and finance basically for the average Joe Smo, if they say, for a person that maybe just starting out, maybe leaving their job or have a few dollars in their pocket or things like that, and they want to start a business, but they don't know where to go at.
All right. So a little bit of background is that I've been doing podcasting for about coming up on 3 years. And my whole focus of this particular platform was to bring the everyday person to help them, that really help you, for those of you who are listening, to take you to that next level, regardless of what level that you are at this moment in time. And one of the things that come across for everybody that I've interviewed so far on the show, just from an everyday standpoint, is to understand like, hey, there is a possibility. You just need to figure out how. And one of the things is getting into that mindset that, yes, it is doable for me and my family. Yes, we deserve, not so much a deserve point, but yes, I have the ability to achieve what I really want in life and take those chances of doing that dream walk. And a lot of people fail to do the dream walk with their spouses, with their family, and even with themselves, just trying to figure out what is it that they want to achieve and then work backwards, and figure out how they can take it to the next level. Might not be with the people that you're currently with. It might be that you might get rid of some people that you're with to take you to that next level. But if you don't mind, I would chime in just a little bit longer here. Just wanted to show that this book I really love is called Common Sense. It's a very thin book, so you should be able to finish this out so quickly. But it goes through just changing your mindset, understanding of paying yourself first, how to do time consistency, and ultimately make it a family tradition to take time out to understand money and taking yourself and your family to that next rung in the ladder.
So I felt though, the reason why I brought you two guys on here today, because I felt as though it goes basically hand in hand. And before I introduce you, Stacy, is because to start off, you're just like like I said, average Joe Smo, and I figure out, all right, I want to start a business, and it's basically like, matter of fact, I'm cooking a pot of 15 bean soup right now. So it's just like the same thing, I had to go somewhere to go find the money. So once I got the money, I had to go to the store. Once I go to the store, I had to go buy all the ingredients, put all the ingredients inside the pot, and let the pot go ahead and simmer for a minute. It's not going to be ready right now, but it's going to take some time. So now I got everything together. I got all my money together. Got my business started, got my LLC and everything. I might be doing a janitorial service or, anything, catering, things like that. So now I see my business may be moving a little slow, but I want to progress. I want to move a little bit faster. So the reason why, and that's one of the reasons why I brought you on here today, Stacey. So why don't you tell everybody about yourself and exactly what do you do?
So one thing that I tell people is to, oh, I'm echoing.
Yeah, your phone is going out. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's going out. It's just going in and out. It's a little choppy.
It sounds like it's echoing. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
All right. If not, I'm going to grab some earplugs and see if that helps maybe. All right. So to answer your question, what I would tell anybody watching is to learn to use other people's money to scale their business. And when I say other people's money, what I is that once you get to a place in your life where you get your credit right, leverage your credit to scale your business. So let's say you have a 720 credit score and you just register LLC for the first time. You can go to a bank and easily get approved for a credit card. So now what you're doing is instead of you using your own capital, you're now using the bank's capital to be able to scale your business. Not only that, what I also teach people is when you get high level credit cards, how to max them out on the business side. So say I got a $20,000 credit card on my business, just from me registering my LLC, having pretty good personal credit and having a relationship with the bank. I go to the bank, I apply for a credit card. They give me a credit card for, let's say, $20,000. 0% interest for 12 months. So let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the first $5,000. I'm gonna put that into account. I'm gonna set it on auto pay so they can pay the credit card back, and then I'm gonna take the other $20,000 and I can either buy a distressed property, wholesale it back to somebody, or if I have any type of business that I'm looking to invest in, I can take that money and invest in my business. Again, I have 12 months, 0 interest free, and then I'm gonna take some of their money and pay them back with their money while I'm generating revenue.
So exactly. So to get to that, that point on, now, my credit score is like about, let's say, about the average person, maybe about 600, if you give it take. That's not even really, really, if you're thinking about it, that's not even like the average person, but my credit score is like about 600 or something. How would I be able to get my credit score to that way as though I can be able to go to the bank and get a loan? Because even though a lot of times, really, if your loan, if your credit about 700, it's still kind of hard to get a real loan, and depending on what bank you go to, or what kind of collateral and things like that you have. So what's the steps for me to take to get to that point where as though I can get my credit score actually kind of okay to be able to be considered for a loan?
So a few steps that you take to get credit okay. Number one, you want to pull your credit. You can go to streetz.com, give you a report once a year, or you can also use Identity. It costs probably $27 a month. You can there for your credit report, and then you want to look at all the on your credit. You got entries on your credit report. If you see my brother have the right to fix your own credit, got entries, the private collection. You want to start working to clean up your credit. First thing I would tell anybody, if you get extra $100, invest in your credit, invest in a book to clean up your credit. And while you're cleaning up your credit, you also want to start adding unsecured cards to your account. Freerunnerreport.com. They give you 2 years of histories, and this is the ways you start building up your credit. Because again, like you said, if your credit, you can't go into a bank and give you a loan or a credit anyway. So you got to start with your personal credit first and building that. But you can still also open up an LLC while you're working on your personal credit. There's something called business credit as well. You can start working on building that up as well by vendor accounts, making sure you get your Duns and Brad, making sure that you have a website, an email address, right? These are some things steps you can take to start building up your business credit as well. But when it comes to personal credit, what I would say, either get a book to fix your credit. You just put one up. I have a book as well. It's out there that you can purchase, or you can do some Googling, but you want to clean up your credit first. But again, if you have a couple extra $100, be willing to invest in yourself, because your credit, once you learn how to leverage your credit, the game is a game changer.
Is Stacy, that's some great information. It's coming in real choppy. So I want you to, we're going to shoot over to Anthony for a second, because I want you to come back to what you were saying, because what it was sounding like, it was some real great information, but it's coming in real choppy. Because all right, so I read your bio, Anthony, and so basically, like, me and you basically basically came up on the same path, kind of, sort of. So like for you and I, credit, not as good and things like that. We striving to try to get things a lot better. What was some of the steps that you took to better yourself financially?
All right. So when I sent you a little bio, I have, most of my listeners know that my credit score actually dropped down to 324. I didn't even know it could get that low first off.
I thought
So
mine was low in the 400s back then, so I feel a
yeah,
lot better now.
they sent me a letter. They was like, yeah, we're gonna drop your credit score because, well, we're gonna drop you as a user because your credit score has gotten to 324. And I didn't even know. And one of the things that the very first thing I did was to freeze my credit report. The first thing that was the first thing I did. Secondly, I went on and called each of them up to say, hey, I'm going through financial hardship. I cannot pay the minimum payment for any of these particular credit cards. Then they put me on a payment plan. And okay. And one of the things that once I had turned told them that I did not have the money to actually pay them on a monthly basis, they actually put me on a payment plan. That payment plan lasted for about 4 years, and that meant that I had to only pay them about $40 a month. With that $40 a month, I was able to go ahead on and start paying them the minimum, which is what they required, which is just the $40. And then I just paid that. But then I started listening to Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey had this snowball method. I never heard of it, which means that you take the lowest payment down to the highest payment, regardless of the interest and so forth. So I started trying that out, and that worked out. Because what I did was, instead of paying all this extra money to them, to the other credit cards, I took a big chunk and started paying off one credit card at a time. Even though I put them on a payment plan, I just started to save the money that I was going to pay the other credit cards to the lowest one and started knocking them out. Now, granted, doing it that way also told them that, hey, you're at a high risk. We're going to close out these credit cards. Once they paid off, they consider paid in full. But on your credit, it's going to be showed off that it's paid, that you closed it. And I was like, that's fine, because I don't plan on buying anything anytime soon. Knowing that anything that's being reported as a hard hit on your credit will come off within about 2 years. Now that's only if they do hard pulls. And that's the reason why I froze my credit first, because I did not want any hard pulls directly from the lender. So to make sure that, also in case nobody else don't want to steal my low credit scores, I'm trying to build it up.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
was a
also a
victim.
trick too, as well, right? Can you
Mhm.
guys hear me better?
Yeah,
Yes, a lot
that's
better.
better.
Okay. So I got earplugs in. So it's also a trick as well. So I want to piggyback off of you said about inquiries, right? There's a game that you play in the credit repair business. So let's say I go out and let's say I'm looking for auto loan, right? And let's say I was denied that auto loan, and I know they did a hard pull on my credit. Technically, that hard pull should stay on my credit for 2 years, but I know the game. I'm real smart, so I'm not going to allow it to stay on my credit for 2 years. What I'm going to do, I'm going to call the credit report and say, hey, look, I'm sitting here looking at my credit report. I got an alert that I got an inquiry on my credit. I didn't allow it. That's fraud. Please remove that within 72 hours, right? Experian is one of the ones. They will move within 72 hours. Now, Equifax and TransUnion, they might say, okay, Stacey, I need an FTC report, right? So that's nothing but a fraud report. You will make a copy of that fraud report, and then you will pretty much mail that off to Experian, and you would also mail it to TransUnion. Within 30 days, those inquiries will be removed off your credit report. So again, there's games to play in the credit repair business industry that unfortunately a lot of people in our community don't know a lot of this stuff. There's no reason why inquiries have to stay on your credit unless it's an open account. If it's an open account, it has to stay there, and that's okay because it's attached to an open account. But if it's not attached to an open account, move them inquiries off your credit report. I just gave y'all some free game now on how to do it. You got to. It's nothing but a simple. It's a simple. It's simple as a call, and you saying, "Hey, I need to speak to the fraud department." Somebody get a phone. Hi, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day today. Right? You want to be real kind to them. And once you get to be kind to them, get them in your hand, you tell them what you want done. You will get some people on the phone that say they'll do it right away. Others, they might give you a little bit of run. If you won't give me help, guess what? I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna call back again and I'm gonna get to somebody else and I'm gonna do it again and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna keep doing it until I see them inquiries removed off my credit report.
Free game right
As
there,
well as
allegedly,
derogatory mark.
because everybody. If you think about it, the ones that have the money and things like that, how you think they got, they had to do things to get to where they was at, and they know exactly the games and how the game it rolls down the hill. But us as ordinary Joe, we don't know these games. And that's amazing.
Right.
And that's one of the amazing reasons why I have you two guys on here today.
That's correct. I also have an ebook out there, How to Moving Crazy in 24 Hours as well.
Exactly. So we're gonna matter of fact, we're gonna put all of that up on the website as well. So let's we're gonna go back for a little bit, like we're saying about with the credit. So we're trying to, so now we're building our credit, we got our credit on up, and now we at maybe about 700, 720. I'm about to go to the bank, try to get a loan. I got a loan now, so I had a plan, but I really don't have a plan. I know I have this money, but I really don't know exactly what I want to do with it, because I want to take my business to the next level, but I don't know what I want to do to get my business to the next level. So what, Anthony, what can we do to get our business, back to the next level, and how can we keep our finances from pummeling down as well?
All right. So this part of the session is pretty much understanding that, hey, that you already have control over your finances. You have to already have that mindset that you're disciplined with your money, because one, taking out a loan requires a risk of taking time to pay that back. Or even if you're going to pay it back, because, most businesses, they go out of business. Oh, no, we don't know what happened, and then you just run away. So those things, those possibilities happen. We had a president who did that constantly. So keeping that in mind, that you already have the know-how and the behaviors, strong financial behaviors, that you don't feel like it's too risky, is one of the things I will ask you first on how big is the loan. Secondly, would be, can you use a credit card to do that? Thirdly, because like Stacey mentioned earlier, I know it's a little choppy earlier, which is the 0% interest for 12 months. Like, so if you have, with those inquiries, if you can get up to at least maybe 10 or 12 credit cards, or if you can get up to about maybe 200,000 in credit cards limits, you can actually do the 18-month no interest using those credit cards to buy the property, refinance the property out within about 6 months, and you paid all the creditors back. You keep the building, and now you actually can refinance that to your business name if you want to, or even yourself. So these are some of the tips and tricks, because it goes beyond. That's why I said you just taking things to another level when you start incurring different risks, and the risk and the reward. I know, Stacey, you got a lot on that one, so I'm gonna let you take care of the rest.
So the first thing that I would say for anybody who decide they're gonna get a loan, what I would tell you first of all is, don't ever take a loan until you have a plan for it. Because again, with loans, the interest rates can be a lot higher compared to a credit card. So what I would say for anybody who's trying to scale your business, do you have a business plan on how you're gonna scale your business, right? What does scaling look like to you? Is there a master plan in place? Once you get your plan in place and you think it makes sense, then I will go out and get the money. It's no purpose in getting the money if you're not going to do anything with the money, whether it's a loan or it's a credit card, let's say with 18-month interest free, right? So let's say you get into the 12th month and you still haven't had a plan for the money. You then waste 12 months of interest free. So again, what I would say for anybody when it comes to being financially fit, you want to make sure, number one, that you have a business plan. Sit down with a consultant, sit down with somebody who can help you get an idea of where you want to take your business at and how to get there. There's so many different businesses out here, but the question is, how do I get to that next level, right? It's like, how do I get to that next level in business? Like with my business, I have government contracting business, right? So what I do is I sell services to the government, right? And I know this year I said I was going to scale my business to having I want at least about 45 employees by the end of the year. So for me, I already know what that takes. That means I got to show up at seminars. That means I got to keep showing up at podcasts. I got to keep showing up, because that's how I'm going to scale. And I got to build networks of subcontracting opportunities. I have 3 new ones this year so far. I got to continue to build relationships, because when I build relationships, that's how my business scales for me. But everybody's business is different. So again, having a business plan in place, having that projection of financially, where do you see your business growing, would help you get an understanding of what you need to get done and how much money you're going to need. But for me, I wouldn't take no money until I know what I'm going to do with the money. Because again, you have to pay that money back. It's not free.
Exactly. So
can
exactly.
I piggyback on that? Because one of the things is, it goes back to what you said, putting things in the pot, you getting your ingredients. I try to use this scenario as, most people won't go to the grocery store until they, like, when you're trying to build a pie, you don't even know. Um, you can just buy all these ingredients, but if your goal is to make a pie, then you go out and get you know what to do with the crust. You know what you're going to do with the filling. If you're going to use apples, if you're going to use peaches or whatever. So, when you see people when they go get a new job and then next thing you know, they broke, it's because they don't know what to do with this new finances that they just accrued because they don't have a plan for it. I just love what Stacey said there. And I just wanted to add on for us a different scenario that when you think about it in the day-to-day activities like making dinner or making a pie. That's all.
Exactly. And it is great that you touched on that, because a lot of people, you're thinking about, you have this money and you just want to jump out there. Oh man, I got $100,000 loan. I'm gonna go out there and be fly. I'm gonna go just jump out and do this and jump into this business, and you didn't have a plan. And you, like you say, you have to have, got to figure out. You can't just be on the fly, because 18 months will go by just like that. So within the 18 months, you should have been already thinking about the 18 months, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago or something like that. Three moves ahead. But what give you this, what give you those, that mindset and that steps for you to take these, I'm just going to go take that next step and just go ahead on and work on my credit and try to get a business and things like that. So what took you, what happened for you to say, man, I'm just tired. I don't want, keep on working from my, my 9 to 5, getting that, average dollar and things like that. I want to work on my credit, work on myself, and try to be, better my life and for my kids and things like that. So, what was it for you?
For me, it was that I was just tired of being broke. Because one, I was already...
There you go. Interview gone. We gone. That's it.
People go out for lunch, and I was like, man, I would like to go out for lunch too. But it came around to, and I was already driving for a long period of time, and at that time frame, when I was in a relationship for almost 6 years, but I was feeding a household of 5 people. And I was the only person that really had to go to work. And so feeding a household of 5 was not cheap. So I had to do a lot of couponing. So I had to master couponing pretty much, master how the paychecks were coming in. But doing so, I was still just over broke. So one of the things that I wanted to start doing was to maximize my job, see what opportunities were out there as far as education, understanding what does it take for me to get more money with the current job that I have, doing my best at the job. Because once I understood that, like Stacey said, when she got her contractors coming in, you have to understand that when a business is looking for a person, that they understand that they are going to get 3 times the amount that they're going to pay this employee. For a perfect example, if somebody coming in, they're going to pay them $40,000. They already know, the employer or the person that's doing the hiring know that we can charge the government or whatever entity $120,000, because you have to think about it from a business perspective. They already did the recruiting. They have to do all the money for the advertising. They have to take care of the health insurance and so forth on that particular employee. So it is worth 3 times that amount. It makes a perfect sense. But once I understood that, I was like, cool, let me milk as much as I can. Let me figure out how the ins and outs, what is my competition in this particular business. And then when I go to the supervisor and say, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, I need to be to this next level. And they said that, well, we can't, whatever. I was like, cool, no worries. I'll go to another person. And that's how most of my evaluations were going during that time frame. And still to today, I still work a 9 to 5. I just do this as a part-time because I love talking finances. So this is great.
I mean, and that's one thing. And I love to talk to people with finances. What's so funny is some of the financial information that I got was from people that I would least expect that will give me financial advice, like gentlemen, guys on work, on the job, and things like that. A lot of older gentlemen, a lot of people that don't look like you and I. They're the ones that really gave me the information on wanting me to be more involved on trying to fix my finances on different stocks and little stocks to buy, where so, you know, you don't have to go out and worry about, you know, buying the big, you know, so-called stocks that's hot right now. You want to think about long term, you know, what's going to pay off down the line, 10, 15 years down the line, that you're not, you know, you're not going to lose a lot of money on, that's going to be steady, that, you know, you're going to have a, you know, a return on. So things like that. So, you know, so let's, you know, back up a little bit more on, you say you like to talk finances and things. So what brought you to that point in life that made you want to say, hey, I want to start a podcast. I want to start talking finance. You know, I want to, you know, start putting people aware of finances on how they can fix things in that, on that credit. Because the reason why that I started this is I want to bring awareness to certain people that can't always go out and find the information that they could be able to find. And is always going to get it from like people like you and I that don't worry about trying to hide the information. You want to share the information with our people, you know, that's willing to learn it. So that's the, you know, the one of the base premise on why I started this, and this for the education. So this, you know, to give it a little bit of background on what your podcast is all about and what brought you to talking about finances in your podcast.
Well, it really started because as I was starting to understand of the credit side of the house and how I was screwed over, figuring out this stuff, and also with the student loans and everything else was just all at once. But as I started planning it out, and every Friday I would take time out to go over my finances and talk to my wife about it. And then she got tired of me talking to her about all the fun stuff that I was finding interesting about finances. She was like, tired of hearing you talk about it. I talk about money all day at work, and because she's also an accountant, so it's like, you know, I have nobody else to talk about money. So
Exactly.
In a podcast, I'll just talk to somebody who will listen to me about money. So
I can imagine what dinner is like that. There's nothing but numbers.
Right. All the time.
Exactly. but for certain people, you know, it would sound boring, but in your world, that's more, you know, that's what you love and what you like, and you want to spread that to other people so they can be able to start to learn what they're like. I started to see during the pandemic, more people started to realize my finances, I got to start worrying about tomorrow, even though it's not promised, but just in case if it is promised, I got to worry about how I'm gonna eat tomorrow, how my family gonna eat the next day, you know, is a legacy. You know, financial, you know, you want to talk about stability and things like that, and you want to start worrying about that. And it usually don't hit around, I don't think really hits a person until they get older in life. You know, kids and things, you're younger, you want to blow your money, you know, you want to have fun. You got a certain few that think they have that mindset on, they want to start building wealth at that age. But really, you know, you don't start thinking until your 30s, late 30s, maybe in your 40s, when, you know, you start to wind, the toys get different. Like I want to say, you start winding down a little bit, you know, things in life, you know, you want in life that it started a little bit different. You don't want all the you still want all the girls and the glamour and things like that, but you want nice houses, nice trips, you know, nice bank account, you know, don't have to worry about eating, you know, what you want to eat tomorrow and things like that. So that's, you know, that's my intake on it.
So I want to piggyback off of you a little bit, you know, so biblically it says train a child in the way you wish for them to go, right? So I think for our community, I think we got to start when they're young, just training them up just with the basics of, hey, well, here's your debit card. Okay, I gave you $20 for the week. You only can spend 10, and I need you to save 10, right? So if we start planting that in our kids' head when they're younger, I think they'll be more aware of their money management skills. Like for me, when I came out of high school, I already started working on my credit because the school that I attended, we started talking about credit. We started talking about being financially fit. A lot of stuff we already started having these conversations. So when I came out, I already knew that number one, it was my job to make sure that I build my credit, that I don't mess it up. If I go in debt, make sure that I pay it back. And so I was taught that student loans was good debt, right? But in my opinion today, it's not good debt.
Stay with you for life until you pay it off.
No debt is good debt if you gotta pay it off, right?
Exactly.
So it's not good. So I think it goes back to really just training our kids up, honestly.
Well,
exactly.
I can add to that because I had a conversation with my mom the other day, and because I was talking to her about credit cards, and she was saying is that she did not teach me about like putting. She did not add me as an authorized user on her credit card, but she known about it. She just didn't want to mess up my credit because she heard about other people messing up their kids' credit. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, you only taught us what you're comfortable with doing, not that you taught us everything that you know. And that's the difference, is that most people only do what they're comfortable. And I'm just thinking from my mom's generation, it's like they were afraid of, messing up a lot of stuff. So they try to shield us away from it by not teaching us about it in the first place. Because one, they never either did it or just never experienced it or knew somebody who knew how to do it successfully.
It's funny that you said that because I never really knew what superstitions was. I just thought, like you said, they was taught, a fear of things and, don't cross the house, and getting your foot hit by a broom. To me, that was something normal. I didn't know it was a superstition. I just thought because but it goes back after this thought was fear. So that shows you what your family, and like you say, with the fear, it get a lot of things get embedded with you, things you don't know nothing about this. Like they talk about kids. Babies don't really know what pain is until you show them what it is. You affection them and things like that. You could stick a baby with a needle, and a lot of times they're not even going to cry until you comfort them and you hold them and things like that. That's when they know, okay, all right, this hurts, so this is what I'm going to get. If I cry, things like that. So I'm not a scientist and things like that, but I'm pretty sure that, we don't know, like, what words, we don't know what words means until you put meaning behind them. I can sit up here and call you a Google guy, and you don't even know what that is, but I can sit up there, you're the nicest person in the world, but, because I put something behind it, like the average dollar. Dollar didn't start off into this piece of paper, until someone put value behind this piece of paper for whatever property they brought or whatever item they brought. That's how pretty much the dollar actually has a value behind it. And like with art as well. So that's another thing for someone, to think about as well. So, going back to you as well. So and another thing that, on your podcast that y'all talk about is, you talk about, the everyday life and, I listened to one of the podcasts, your first one, and you was talking about, how you got started, and like you said, with the struggles and things like that. And so, like with me, the same way, like even with like the struggle with my credit, the first time I actually got a credit card, I think it was for a store called Eddie. I ain't gonna say the last name, but I got a credit card with them, and I was like 18. I went out and it was right before Easter. Went out and brought all these clothes. It was like $300 credit card. Went out and brought all these clothes and everything, not paying attention, and bang, gets on the credit, not paying attention. Oh, I start working at, I think Heck Company. Every employee get a credit card. Get all this, I'm having fun with the credit card, not knowing I'm gonna pay for that 10 years down the line. Next, like my friend, I got a buddy of mine, so he believes in paying with cash. He don't like, oh, I don't need no credit. I'd rather pay this long as I can be able to pay for this or whatever. But when you can't buy $100,000 home, $200,000 home with cash without having that, talk about where that cash came from. So you got to start working. Your mindset got to be different. You got to start working on your credit and how to build wealth for your family. So, and I have friends right now to this day that don't believe in credit. The credit scores, like you say, yours was in the 3. They might, if you can go with a negative, or there might be worse ways. So they're too scared to put something inside that name because they don't want to mess the credit up. But you can't mess your credit up unless you put something in your name. So it's kind of hard to tell them certain things like, man, you got to do this, or once you go ahead and set about paying for cash with everything, but you go get this start with like a secure credit card. I don't need no secure credit card. I got money, So this is why we're here today to actually show people this is what you do with your finances. If you want to have you got a good health, if you want to live until you about 70, 80 years old, 100, you want to have wealth until you about 60, 70, 80 years old because they're not really going to do too much hiring when you're 70, 80 years old. So
yeah, can I piggyback on that a little bit?
Yes.
When you talked about having money in the bank, one of the things I did a test run just to see what would happen. So I did a cash out, not a cash out, but I had did a balance transfer from one of my credit cards and just put it in my bank account. Left it in there for 3 months. that because I had credit cards with that particular bank, they increased all 3 of my credit cards by 10,000 just because I just left the money there. And I didn't use
Sounds
any,
about right.
huh?
They using your money.
Right.
They using your money. That's what they doing. They
Right.
giving you back your money.
And what I did was I was like, all right, cool, thank you. I put that same money back to the other credit card, but now my credit limits are a lot higher now. So now my debt to income ratio has went down. So this was a small tip and trick if you want to add to the tips and tricks. Thank you, Stacy. for some of the people who want to try to leverage their credit cards to kind of increase their debt to income ratio to help again boost your credit score up a lot higher.
Exactly. So, Stacy, so because a lot of that information that you was giving us in the beginning, when talking about the LLC and working your way on up, can you elaborate on that a little bit more? So, it's people that might have missed it a little bit.
Yes. So pretty much what I was saying, and this goes back to a little bit of what I talked about, using other people's money, and leverage your credit so that you can actually scale your business is what I was kind of speaking about very briefly. So pretty much what that means. So and I'm gonna give you just a typical person. Let's say you're a typical person. Let's say your credit score is about a 720. Let's say you have about 8 positive accounts reporting on your credit history. They've been there for let's say at least 6 years, right? And let's say you bank with PNC. You've been banking with PNC for let's say you're banking with PNC, maybe let's even say maybe 6 months, right? And let's say you go to PNC and say, you know what? I have this LLC and I would like to apply for a no doc loan. You are allowed to do that. No doc loans are up to $50K each on a no doc loan for every business bank account you have. That's called a no doc loan. Up to $50K you can get on each one of your businesses. Up to $50K. But again, it's about having a relationship with the bank. It's about having fairly decent credit, and not even decent, but having good credit. So that's when you're able to leverage your credit to make money on your business side. And the cool thing about on the business side, whether it's a credit card or a loan, the utilization is not reporting to your personal credit. And you can max out a credit card and it not affect your credit score. So that's the plus about building business credit and starting a business. There's so much power in having an LLC. Even if you let your LLC sit for years and never do anything with, that's called a seasoned LLC. You could sell an LLC to somebody else and they're going to buy it because it's an age corporation. Banks want to see that. They want to see, oh, you've been in business this long? They want to see that.
It's
so there were some tips that I was given before.
I still got like 2 LLCs that's still sitting out there that I haven't used in maybe about 4 or 5 years that I haven't thought about that. But I'm glad to hear you say that.
So if you haven't used them in 4 or 5 years and your credit is decent, guess what I would be doing? If I know what I'm gonna do with the money, I would be going straight to the bank and say, hey, I would like a no doc loan line of credit. Here you go. That's what I would be doing. Or if my credit is good, I'm gonna be taking each one of those businesses that I had. I'm gonna be applying for credit cards. That's what I'm gonna be doing. But there's power in having an LLC, because you guys talk about generational wealth, right? So I'm gonna tell you that this is what I believe with generational wealth. The only way that you can actually fully lead generational wealth is if you own real estate. Real estate is the true way for generational wealth. You know, any of these big people in the industry, all of them own real estate.
Yeah, because even with the sanctions that's happening with Russia, a lot of the Russian billionaires are actually trying to look for real estate inside the U.S. right now, but everybody's blocking them.
Because the property value, for the most part, a lot of times is always really going up. And you don't really, I mean, you hear, it takes a while for, I guess, in neighborhoods for property value to go down. I moved in my area, maybe 2015, bought a home, and with this 2022, property value went up at least about 60, close to 60,000 that fast inside of my area. So just think about in the long term when it comes to real estate and what you can do with real estate and actually purchasing land as well.
Yep. And that's one of the things, back to what do you want to do with the money once you get it?
Exactly. So you got to have these, these conversations with yourself on, you have, start with fixing your credit, having a plan while you're fixing your credit, because there's no reason to fix your credit and don't do nothing with it. Having a plan while you're fixing your credit. And then once you get the credit fixed, you execute that plan once you get that loan. And once you get that loan, then you want to figure out, okay, now you're here, you have the business, and now you want to take it to the next level, or you want to sustain that same type of income or make it a little bit more. I mean, I don't think nobody ever want to stay at 30,000. The plan is at least to get to 60, and then from 60, so on and so on. So you got to, it's playing chess, not checkers, but you want to play chess. You can play checkers, but you're not going to last but so long. It's going to get boring. You're going to move all over the place now. What you going to do after that? You want to sit down and you want to actually sit there and think about what you want to do in life. Makes it more interesting. You're using your brain, figuring out what you want to do.
And then how are you going to change that to the next generation?
Exactly.
Because granted, I know we only talked about credit cards at a high level, not talking about like maximizing your credit cards and actually doing more credit hacking. Because now that you at a point, just going by the different levels that we're talking about here, is that once you have your credit cards paid off, and now it's starting to play the credit card game, which is where you start doing, are you a points person or are you a cashback person? I'm a points kind of guy, so I like doing free trips, free hotel stays. Some people like cashback because they want to use it for investing. And so you can run the gamut on how you like it. But again, back to Stacey said, you got to have that plan before you even apply for the credit card. So and for me, I like traveling, because if I want to travel to Europe or UK for some odd reason, I'm looking for an American Express card that will take me over there, because they have transfer points to United Emirates, so I can get over there for free, first class, or even business class. It don't matter. So I can get my wine and everything like that. But some people just like the cash back because they was like, wow, the market's going down right now. I got a lot of stuff I need to purchase anyway for the house. I need to get but like how Stacey was saying, if you have the LLC, just put the house in the LLC. And then because you're running everything that you purchase is actually you can get a tax deductible on it. And so you're paying yourself back twice in your taxes, plus with the credit card. Plus you're just getting all this money coming in. It's like a win-win. Once you understand your risk and your game plans fully out. I mean, Stacey, you just hitting it all over the park today. I have to say thank you.
Your sound
when it comes to using credit cards, right? So I agree in getting points and cash back. That's why I think credit is better than debit, because I always give people this scenario, right? So let's say if you got a debit card, right? And let's say somebody sold your debit card and they took $10,000 for your debit card. You call them back, they will say, okay, we'll invest it, give us up to 45, 60 days. Now, if you got a credit card and the same thing happened, they can be like, okay, let me put the money back. You know why? Because it's their money somebody stole. So that's why I always say I believe credit is better than debit. It's great to have your own money, but credit is better than debit.
Yeah, because you're using your own money and you're not getting nothing off of it. You might be able to, one of my debit cards that I used, to purchase like everyday things is it gives me actually stock in whatever business I use that card in. So it's little penny stocks here and there. Stash. Free plug stash if y'all out there. Okay. So they actually give you little stocks here and there depending on the size of the on whatever money you spend. So even if you go to your little grocery store, to the corner store, you'll look at your invoice, you'll see whatever company owns that transaction or whatever machine they use, you'll purchase stocks inside of that company as well. So just a little tip for the average person that don't know anything about stocks, but that's something, buying stocks and certain things that you like, and you can control on the money that you're putting into it. And then I think also they match you or something like that. So just a little bit, just a little thing.
Yeah, you gotta plug that in the show notes.
You know what? Thanks a lot. I surely will, because I've been using them for the past about 4 or 5 years now. So
yeah. Might as well get your affiliate link. Another way to cash flow your income instead of wasted opportunities. I mean, you're using it, you love it, you just talked about it. Why not get a little piece of the action on the back end?
Exactly. Why not? I mean, everybody is, what they say is the great American way. Exactly. I wish I had some apple pie right about now.
Please don't do with that American Pie movie.
One of my favorite ones. Oh man, to me, I don't know, between the first one and I think it was when they the reunion, that was hilarious. Those two are my favorite.
Definitely.
Exactly. So Anthony, so what do you have going on right now?
Well,
Any new projects coming up, or any new, anything coming up on the next episode of your podcast?
Well, the next episode, because I don't have any guests lined up, so this one is just kind of, I don't have it planned out yet. I do have some things I want to talk about, because I have a list that I need to plan out, and I just need to pick one off the list. But far as overarching, by the end of this quarter, which is by the end of March, I do plan on having a subscription set up and my Discord account set up, and then lastly, having some not really courses, but more so one-on-ones and also group financial sessions. I'm gonna be planning those out and doing them by tiers, because sometimes you just need to reach people where they are, and you just gotta go from there.
Exactly, and that's the best place to do it, is to reach them where they are. And it's why I named my podcast Streetz Talk, because the streets actually do talk and they do listen. You just got to go there and talk to them. And that's why politicians during that time, they come to the streets. You don't see them no other time, but they come to the streets when it's time to talk and they want to listen. You don't say they're going to do anything about it, but they want to listen. So, with you, Stacey, so what do you have going on, and exactly get in a little bit, because we couldn't really get into what in the beginning, what you go in, what you do, what do you have coming up, next projects and things like that, and actually what do you do?
So currently right now, actually what I'm doing, I'm actually teaching a government contracting course and teaching people how to sell products to the government and take their business from 0 to 6 to 7 figure businesses is what I'm doing right now. So full time, what I do is I am a government contractor. I also contract out to the government. That's what I do full time. Outside of that, I also teach people about business credit, building up their business credit profile, and I also help people get funding for their businesses as well. And I also have a credit repair business as well. So I help people repair credit. And currently, what's coming up for me, I'm actually on tour in March 26th. I'm touring with a group called Lady Millionaires. We will be in Atlanta, and we will be teaching passive income, real estate, Turo, trucking, Airbnb. We'll be giving the Navy Fed Plus for people who want to go out and get auto loans so they can put cars on Turo. It's just so much passive information. So that's currently what I have going on. If anybody want to follow me at I am Stacey, this is where you can find me at on Instagram. I'm always posting a lot of helpful information, whether it's about forming a business, how to start a business, how to get your DUNS number, EIN, you name it. I put up some type of content there for people to be able to grab.
And that's a great reason why I have you, because I ask about numbers, and once you finish get tired of talking those numbers, you know what to do with those numbers. So that's a great reason why you need to be tuning in right now. And hopefully we gain, because this is some great information, and to see you guys, when you start talking your numbers and you start talking about the contracts, the way your guys' eyes light up is like like kids in the candy store.
Oh yeah, I mean the next podcast, actually you bring it back on, I'll actually talk about government contracting and what a little bit of what that looks like, what that is, how do you get into that industry. I can actually disclose that in another podcast as well.
Yep, we can actually do that. So I can actually, once we leave out here, Anthony, I'll put a link up on the website and on the page, to your podcast. So I actually put a link up and also on the website, for your next event or what have you. You just guys just hit me up and let me know, and I'll get the word out there for you guys. And that's the best way to do, is the network and get the word out, because a lot of people here need to hear this stuff. We need to hear, we need to hear this.
Network is your network.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Network is your network. You gotta get in the room.
That is so.
You gotta get in the room.
Yeah. Because I actually
gotta get in the room.
I do Wednesday. While at Wednesdays, I just started that up, so I thought that would be pretty cool. Well, I make drinks at the half hour mark. We just start making some drinks and we just have a fun time. Okay. If you want to come through.
And just, basically shoot the ball. So exactly. So Say that one more time.
We lose Stacy.
I think
Did we
it
lose
must be.
Stacy?
Yeah, I think she fell off. So
Oh,
I'll
man.
make sure, I'll get her information up on the website. So this was actually great conversation. I'm actually great and honored, that you actually came onto the show. We actually got to do this again, to get this word out there. Like I say, you love to talk about finances, and I know a lot of people that love to listen. So we definitely got to do this again.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, sir.
No problem. So if you want to give everybody your information one last time, so
Yes.
where they can find you and what you have coming up.
All right, my name is Anthony Weaver. I am the host of the About That Wallet podcast, where we help you build strong financial behaviors. The podcast release every Tuesday, usually around 6 o'clock in the morning for the audio, around 10 o'clock Eastern time for the video on YouTube. You can catch me at YouTube at youtube.com/About That Wallet, or you can just find me anywhere on your favorite platform. That's it.
There you guys go.
All right, I think you have muted out.
Thank you guys for having me. Hope you guys learned some pretty good content today.
I know I did. Thank you. Because I might have to hit you up for the government contract. So I think Alfred, you might be muted.
By all means.
Yeah, we got to link up because I want you on my show.
No, definitely. Whatever you want me to come on, I definitely will come on. Just say the word. Like I said, I'm on tour. I'm either going live on somebody's page or on mine or somebody's podcast, or like I said, I'm traveling right now. Yesterday I was actually in Delaware. I spoke there about business credit and building up business credit and pretty much leveraging your credit as well. So Anthony, whenever you need me on, just send me a message. I'll be more than happy to join you.
Awesome. Thank you.
If y'all need, I could shoot, each other, the information or whatever, and then you can go from there. So once we get off here, Stacey, I'll send you his information, and then y'all can go ahead and link up, and that'll be great because, like I said, you talk numbers and you know what to do numbers, and that'll be a perfect collaboration.
I agree. I appreciate the introduction for sure.
Thank you. Both
No problem. So no problem. And like I said, it was an honor. So before we get out of here, Stacey, go and give everybody information. So if they want to find you, and and like I say, the next thing that you have coming up, and it'll be great.
So you can find me again on Instagram at I am Stacism. That's IAMSTACISM on Instagram. And again, my next event coming up is going to be in Atlanta on March 26th. We'll be having the Ladies Millionaire Tour. We'll be teaching different types of passive income. So that is my next event coming up. I'm also looking to do something in Baltimore as well. Anthony, maybe we can all maybe do some collaborating as well, because I definitely would love to do some type of seminar right here in Baltimore as well, even for our youth, because again, they need to know finances as well. So that's my upcoming event. And again, you can find me on Instagram at IamStacism.
There y'all go.
Stacey, I'll definitely try to be there. For me, it's Anthony at About That Wallet. Anthony at About That Wallet. So you can find me at most of the social platforms at About That Wallet, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and just search for About That Wallet. And usually you have to do the podcast because wallet is such a common term. So in order to find me, you need to put in podcast, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that it is. It's always about that wallet. So there y'all go. This has been another great episode of Streetz Talk Podcast, and I'm glad you guys joined in. I want y'all guys to have continue to have a great day. And until again we do this one more time somewhere in the future, y'all have a blessed one.